Hey everybody, welcome back. I decided just to hit the record button because today is, I guess, one of those like milestone days, if you want to call it that, whatever. But today it's been 3 years since my first appointment at Fox Chase, and with that comes a lot of emotions, I guess. And I don't know, I just felt like it was a good time just to hit the record button to see what the hell comes out of my mouth, because this is normally the best time to do it. But Facebook memories kind of suck. I don't know if you guys ever had Time Hop before, if you remember Time Hop. I used to have it. I no longer have it because it's brought up like good memories and also some shitty fucking memories. So Facebook seems to have this memories things that's very similar to Time Hop. So, I read this memory, and it's basically the first appointment where they were assessing me. We did blood work. That was also the appointment that I mentioned where in my first episode I was just kind of just sitting and rocking in pain, because as the day got on, it just got progressively worse. But even just getting there, it was rough. Like that wasn't when it actually hit me. I remember when we first walked in to Fox Chase for the very first time. My mom and I, we were nervous, naturally, as anyone would be. And you go up to like this, anywhere you go and you're new, you always have to, check in as a new patient. There's always paperwork, stuff like that. So we went to I guess like you would call it the front desk. And, I remember being at the front desk. One of the nicest ladies I ever met. I wish I could remember her name, but I can't. I'm terrible with names. But she kind of set the tone for me with Fox Chase, to be honest with you. She was so nice, so kind, and she just could tell that I was in so much pain. And she was very accommodating, because I remember checking in and I was on crutches. I didn't have a walker at this point. Not yet, at least, but I was on crutches, and I'm just sitting there. I can barely keep myself standing up. I'm just in so much pain, and at this point I was vomiting. I was just getting ill randomly throughout the day. So I had one of those moments hit me right at the front desk. And anywhere in a cancer center, you learn very quickly there's like these buckets, like these little pink buckets that's basically a throw-up bucket. I mean, it's just one of the most common side effects when you're going through all this type of treatment. So naturally they got them on deck. But she went running, she grabbed it for me, had me sit down, and actually showed my mom there's like these rolling wheelchair things. They have like a pole where you could put like your IV. If you had any type of IV medicine, that's where it would hang from. We used to load up like all of our bags on the handles when we'd go in for inpatient, but I'll get to that later on. But yeah, she was so accommodating, and that was my first like 20 minutes in the door, and I'm already throwing up in the cancer center, not even on treatment yet. That was embarrassing. But yeah, after we did that, I was already in agony, so I knew it was going to be a long day, especially if I'm already throwing up at the front desk. I feel like that kind of like was setting a tone a little bit, and I was just sick. Ultimately I was so sick. Lots of blood work. But I don't think we did any scans or anything yet, to be honest with you. After getting sick at the front desk, like in blood work, I don't really remember the in-between besides sitting, waiting to actually see the doctor at that point. And my like body aches hit me like a Mack truck, and I was just rocking and rolling in agony. And yeah, so eventually go back to see the doctor, and that's when I mentioned in the last recording that I did that he immediately didn't think it was bone cancer. He jumped to lymphoma just by looking at my scan within like a minute. So already was confirmed that, yeah, you do have cancer. It doesn't look like bone cancer. It looks more like a lymphoma, which is a very aggressive type of cancer. And by the grace of God, my doctor who treated me for my particular lymphoma was in the office next door, and he ran over, grabbed her, and I remember this is when everything got crazy. During that first appointment, this is when everything just got flipped upside down. I don't even know what hit me, but I remember sitting there. My mom was on my left. I'm in that little wheelchair thing cart, whatever you want to call it, and I felt like I was gonna get sick again. And I got sick again, and I couldn't stop. I got into like a, I guess, I don't know if it's just me. Like, it can't be just me, but when I get into like a gagging, like throwing up, I get into a funk. It's like a vicious cycle. It doesn't stop, and that's what I was doing. I just couldn't stop, and I don't even know what I was throwing up at this point because I couldn't eat. I was surviving off of like Boosted and Sure, so I guess it was just bile. I don't know, but I was throwing up so bad. Specifically, remember leaning over in this bucket, just looking in this bucket, and I remember saying, "Somebody please help me." And that was the most desperate I've ever felt in my entire life. Was that exact moment when I was throwing my fucking guts up, literally, and I just felt so helpless. I didn't know what was about to happen. And shortly after, a nurse came in. I wish I could remember her name, and I can't, but she checked up on me a lot during my treatment, and she was like a mother hen. She found me and my mom. My mom's just a mess because I'm a mess, and she's scared and I'm scared, and we don't know what's going on. The doctor's grabbing another doctor. I'm sick as a dog, and this nurse comes in, and then suddenly another nurse comes in, and then another nurse comes in, and before I know it, I'm on a stretcher. I'm laid out on a stretcher, and there's like 6 nurses around me suddenly. All I said was, "Somebody please help me," to myself, mind you, in a bucket, and suddenly there's just like all these people. And they rolled me into another room, and they started getting an IV ready, because I had been dehydrated at this point, so they needed to get some type of fluids in me, something. They had to get me under control. And then as they're doing all this, and I hate needles, and I don't even think I cared at that point, because I already knew I needed help, and I didn't care what I had to do. I was desperate. Like I just said, that was the most vulnerable point in my entire life. I remember my doctor walking through, and she looked at me. She came in so... Anytime she walked into a room, she just brought like this... It's just like her presence was just so graceful and like welcoming and comforting. Anytime she walked into a room. And she walked in, she looked at me, and I remember her looking at my knee, and I remember her touching my knee. And I remember her looking at me and telling me, she's like, something's wrong with you, but we're going to figure out what it is. And I looked at her and I was like, okay. You know, just sick, crying. I'm pretty sure my fever spiked at that point, and I think that's why they threw me onto the stretcher to begin with. And just like that, I was admitted. I never left Fox Chase that night. I went in for my first appointment today 3 years ago, and I never went home. And it was 6 nurses, 3 on each side, and my mom going through the halls of Fox Chase, running me to inpatient to get me admitted, get me a bed, you know, get something's not right. And my stomach was in such pain, because I remember the only thing I could do for pain at the time was just pop ibuprofen and stuff like that. So, you know, I could only imagine how tore up my stomach lining was, and the night doctor was pretty concerned about that. So he got some type of IV medicine to help calm my stomach down so we could start getting like a liquid diet going on, because I needed nutrients, I needed fluids, I needed medicine, and I can see her, and I still can't. I'm terrible with names, y'all. I apologize, and it'll probably come to me later on the more I talk about this. Elena, that was her name. She was my first nurse, and she happened to be my nurse a couple times throughout my treatment, but she was my first nurse on the night shift. And everybody at this place was just amazing. Like, you have to be a special person to work with people who are at the risk of losing their life at any moment, to be honest with you. Let's just be completely real. And you have to have a comforting persona about you. You have to be good with people, and these people at Fox Chase are just absolutely amazing. And I'm not saying this because I'm being like told to say this. This is all from my heart. This is all from me. I love it there, and I hate hospitals, but if I could make them my primary doctor, I would. That's how much I love it there. But anyway, I remember Elena being my first nurse that night. I remember the next day, I was there for a couple days. I want to say at least maybe 3 or 4. And during that whole time, they did a lot of testing. I had to get a biopsy. At the time, I had a lump on my neck because the cancer was spreading throughout my body. I didn't know this at the time. I wasn't even aware I had a lump on my neck. The doctor, Dr. Abraham, the first doctor I saw, who told me I didn't have bone cancer, actually pointed that out. So they biopsied that, and I remember I was so nervous. They had to give me IV fentanyl, not once, but twice. And I remember there was like 5 doctors around me, and I remember when it hit me, I couldn't say anything, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't even tell them no if I wanted to. So I just remember sitting there, focusing on this one nurse who was holding my hand, an older lady, and I'm looking at her because the lump's over here, and the doctor's coming in this way, and it's like when you biopsy, there's like a clicker. I don't know how else to explain it, but you hear the click, click, click of them taking these little samples. Wild, just to think about it. Yeah, I had to get a biopsy. I'm pretty sure I had to get like a PET scan or a body scan, where they put like this special like sugar through an IV. Obviously, everything's done through an IV. The damn place. That's something whatever. But through an IV, and it's like this sugar, and basically what this sugar does, it's gonna make just the cancer itself light up, and some other organs, but so you're gonna see some things are actually gonna light up, like your brain. I think it's like your heart, your stomach, your kidneys, stuff like that. Certain things do light up, but there's gonna be places that aren't supposed to light up, and if there's cancer there, it's gonna light up, if you're catching my drift. So that's like the dumbed down version of that type of scan. I had to get them a couple times, more than twice, probably like I want to say 3 or 4 throughout the entire course of, between the beginning of this and now. I had to get that done. Blood work after blood work after blood work, like every day, all day, every day, all day, every morning, which I hated. I hated getting blood work in the morning. But yeah, I didn't leave because they did so many testing to try to figure everything out, and it's just crazy to think that it's been 3 years, I guess, is where I'm going with all this. It's crazy. It's just wild to think, because some days this doesn't even feel real to me. It doesn't even feel like this actually happened, and I don't know how to explain that to people. It just feels like a movie. I don't know how else to explain it. Like I watched a movie, and it wasn't me, but it really was me. I don't know. I don't know how to really put it into words to explain that to you guys, unfortunately. It's just, maybe that's my mind, kind of compartmentalizing everything and tucking it away. But I've noticed for the last 3 years, during this time, is when everything comes out very raw, and I try to sit with it, work with it as best as I can. Do I get upset? Absolutely. Absolutely, I get upset, and I think that's healthy. It's okay to cry. I earned that right to be able to sit and cry about these things, because it did happen at the end of the day. Even if my mind likes to believe or play this trick on me that it didn't, and just protect myself, it did. And that's the reality of it. I know this. Working through it, that's all you can really do. As long as you continue to just get better. That's all you can really do. Baby step is still a step, in my opinion. So, ultimately, that's all that really matters. Yeah. Again, I just kind of wanted to sit and hit the record button while my emotions were I was processing. Like I said, I read the memory on my Facebook, and I just wanted to sit with it for a minute and really be like, wow, that was 3 years ago. Look how far we've come. I've gotten married. That was like the biggest thing that drove me during chemo too, because like I said previously, the year that I got diagnosed with cancer, that fall I was supposed to get married to my now wife, and we had to put that all on hold. So that was a big motivator for me during chemo to make it to the other side. Besides wanting, live my life out, I wanted my damn wedding. I wanted my wife to have her day, and it was a beautiful day. It was one of my favorite days to date, to be honest with you. And we have a lot going on in the background, a lot of great things, so it's awesome to see how far I've come between being that vulnerable person that I was just talking about, like crying out for help, to I'm not perfect, but I'm a lot stronger and a lot wiser. And as long as I continue to work on myself mentally, physically, and try to keep my emotions intact, I think I'm doing okay. A for effort. So, and that goes to you guys as well. If you're just keeping your head just above the water, A for effort, man. That's all that matters. So, keep doing your damn thing. Keep your head up. That's my best advice. And stick with me. Who knows what I'm going to post next, because again, this is going to be all like almost like a diary. So, you want to see a whole different side of me, learn a whole new side of me, this is the place to be. So, thank you for coming back. Thank you for watching. And thank you for the support. Y'all have a great rest of your day.